Okay, we are going to finish up some chapter 3 real quick before we get into chapter 4. I don't usually like to split up a chapter like this, but this part actually kind of goes to, in my mind, just as much with chapter 4 as it does with chapter 3. So we are going to graph some lines that are in the form y equals mx plus b. So write this down, maybe listen to what I have to say, and then pause and write it down. It's up to you. But this is the beginning of everything else we do in math, basically, in high school. So you absolutely need to understand this, and we're going to take a little bit of time to make sure that we do. Okay? And we'll keep coming back, so we'll get to keep reinforcing it. But pause, write this down, get this in your notes, start to learn this vocabulary and these concepts. So, slope-intercept form. That's the y equals mx plus b that we've already talked about, right? And we know that the m is the slope and the b is the y-intercept. Okay? Well, and we've already looked at how do we find the slope from a graph, right? We've pulled the slope out of the equation, that kind of thing. And now we're going to basically go the other direction. We're going to take the equation and make the graph. Okay? So remember that this graph is negative, I can't, right? This way is positive. Okay, those are two things that you absolutely have to make sure you have in your head. Also, that if it's horizontal, that's a zero slope. If it's vertical, that's what we call undefined. Okay, it doesn't mean it doesn't have a slope. The slope is undefined. There's no way to describe it except that it's undefined and our line is vertical. So make sure you have this in your notes and are starting to get it in your head. So we're going to graph this equation, okay? We need to find the slope and the y-intercept. Well, the slope is the number in front of x, not the x, just the number. Don't tell me that the slope is 3x. The slope is 3. And our y-intercept is the number by itself, that -4. We call that a constant, by the way. Okay? So now that we have these two things, we can graph our equation. Okay? We're going to start at our y-intercept. So we are going to put a point on the y-axis at -4, maybe. Maybe I should use a different color. Okay, at -4. It is always on the y-axis. Always on the y-axis. You would never put that first point on the x-axis. Never. Okay? Because it's the y-intercept, and so it's where y equals -4. So we have a point there. Okay? And then remember that our slope, right, is really rise over run. Rise over run. So that means that we need this to be a fraction. So if it's just a number, we can say 3/1. So our rise is 3, our run is 1, which means from the point that we made at -4, we're going to count up 3, so 1, 2, 3, and over 1, okay? It's a +3, so our slope needs to go that direction. So we need to go up 3 and over 1 to the right. so that we then have a line through those 2 points. Okay? Now, I'm here to tell you, you need to put on this graph as many points as you can. So from that new point we just did, we're going to count again. Up 3, 1, 2, 3, over 1. Oops. Well, I moved the whole thing. Hang on. One, 2, 3, up 1. Okay? And then we can go up again, up 3 and over 1 again. Sorry, my finger's not quite getting where it's supposed to be. And then we have all of these points where we can draw our line. Always put the arrows on your line, please. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, lots and lots of practice here as we figure out what all this means to us. So, we're not going to do that one right now. We're going to do A. Okay, so our slope is the number in front of our x, which is our m, right? And our y-intercept is the number, so in this case -3. So that's our y-intercept, or our b, and that's where we're going to start graphing. Okay, I'm actually going to make my graph a little bit bigger. Maybe that will help. Okay, so remember we're going to start at -3. That was our y-intercept. Okay. Whoops. Well, maybe. See, now we're... All right, I changed mine. We're going to do it small so I can still see the equation. So we're going to start at -3. So we're going to put a point there at -3, always on the y-axis, always on the up and down axis. Okay, and then we're going to use our slope, which is 2, so let's make it 2 over 1, make it into a fraction. Anytime it's just a whole number, put it over 1, okay, which means we're going to go up 2 from that -3, so 1, 2, and over 1. Now, how did I know to go right? Well, it's a positive 2, right? So that means our slope needs to be positive, and it needs to go that direction. From that new point, I'm going to go up 2 and over 1 again, up 2 and over 1 again. I'm having a really hard time getting it where it belongs. And again, and you know what? We could also go down 2 and over 1 from our original point. That's 1 point. Okay. And then connect all those points with a moderately straight line. Put our arrows, and we have graphed our equation. Don't worry, we're going to do some of these in class too. Okay? So, we have our slope, we have our y-intercept, and that y-intercept is where we start. Always on the y-axis, -2. It's not always going to be negative, by the way. Okay, we put our first point. From that point, we take our slope, which is -1/3. Hey, look, it's already in a fraction. Okay, so that means we're going to go up or down 1 and over 3. Okay, notice that it's a negative slope, so that means it's going to end up going that direction. Okay, so from our -2 point down there we made already, we're going to go up 1 and over 3 to the left because we really want it to be this direction because it's negative. Okay? We could also go down from our original point, we could go down 1 and over 3 to get a point there. Okay? From any of those points, we could then keep going down 1 over 3 or up 1 over 3 to get all of the points that will fit on our graph. You need to keep putting points on your graph until no more fit. I have one more example for us, and then we'll do some in class as well. Okay, so our slope is -3/2, which means it's going to go this direction. Okay, I don't have to, it's already a fraction, I don't have to make it a fraction. So we're going to go up and down 3, we're going to go over 2, starting at our y-intercept. I don't know why these were all negative intercepts, sorry. At -2. So we're going to put our first point there at -2, and then we're going to count up 3 over 2 so that it will be negative. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3 up, 2 over, or we could go down from our original 1, 2, 3 and over 2. Okay, that's about all we can do down, but we can go from here up 1, 2, 3 over 2, and that's about all that will fit there. So connect your points, put your arrows on your line. You'll notice mine are never straight because I'm using my finger and I don't have a ruler and I can't draw a straight line. Now, when you're working on your assignment, you will have to just be sketching yourself a graph, so it's not going to be perfect, but I will be able to tell that you know what you're doing. Okay? So, ask questions in class. We will learn this all together.